allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone. We'll start to my far left, introductions of commissioner and staff.
Ken Lane, public member.
Suze Wallen, city member, mayor of Modesto.
Vito Chiesa, county member.
Amy Bublak, city member.
Charlie Gilkin, city member, alternate Waterford. Bill Barry Hill, alternate city, member.
Manny Graywall, alternate county member, but sitting in for Terry Withrow, county member today.
Javier Camarena, assistant executive officer.
Sarah Little Penny, executive officer.
John Whitehead, county council.
Jennifer Vieira, commissioner there.
Outstanding. Welcome, everyone. We will start with our public comment period. This is time set aside. The speaker card hopefully will have been filled out, and we have a few. I'll start with the first one, Milt.
Good evening, commissioners, staff, and everyone else. Milt Treeweiler. It's hard to understand that there are people here in Stanislaus County who are scheming to destroy the future for our children and our descendants. Their plan is to build more houses to bring in Bay Area people to live in Stanislaus County. This farmland, the MID and TID irrigation districts of Stanislaus County, is the best farmland in the world. Once you build houses on this farmland, you will never be able to grow food on it again. This would be irresponsible, and our children and descendants would have to suffer for the bad decisions we would be making today. We are educated people. There is not 1 acre of farmland in some entire states or even countries as good as the farmland in the proposed Riverwalk project area near Riverbank, or as the farmland north of Turlock, or as the farmland in areas around Modesto, Ceres, Houston, and Salida. Stanislaus County's farmland can grow food for hundreds of years because of the soil, the water, and the climate we have here in our county. Total U.S. farmland is steadily declining because farms are becoming subdivisions. The combination of population growth and farmland loss due to the felling of land in the San Joaquin County has resulted in an alarming decline in the amount of farmland in the Central Valley. I don't think some people realize how good our farmland is. In the entire country of Japan, they can only grow 38% of the food that they need to eat. They have to import 62% of their food to survive. There's an abundance of poor food, there's an abundance of poor soil and wastelands in California for the developers to build houses on, like the Altamont area, Pass area, or the area east of Oakdale. There's also large landmass areas west of Patterson along Interstate 5 and in the Fairfield area along Highway 12. The large acreages in these areas have poor soil and lack water and are not suitable for growing food. In the MID and TID irrigation district boundaries, we can grow up to 240 different crops. In our cities, we must grow up and not out. We must build high-rise condominiums, multi-story townhouses, and 3 or more story apartment complexes in the infill areas of all of our Stanislaus County cities that are in the TID and MID irrigation boundaries. Let us do the right thing. It's everyone's responsibility to preserve the farmland so our children and our descendants can have affordable food to eat and can live happy lives. It's hard to understand that there are people in Stanislaus County who are scheming to destroy the future for our children and our descendants. Their plan is to build more houses to bring in Bay Area people to live in Stanislaus County. This farmland, the MID and TID irrigation district of Stanislaus County, is the best farmland in the world. Once you build houses on this farmland, you'll never be able to grow food on it again. This would be, just slightly. This would be irresponsible, and our children and descendants would have to suffer for the bad decisions we would be making today. We are educated people. We don't need to make bad decisions.
Thank you. Jamie?
Good evening, Commissioners. Jamie Agers, 7730 McHenry Avenue, Modesto. I've lived in Stanislaus County my entire life. My great-grandparents farmed hundreds of acres in the Concord Hills land, which is all gone now. My grandparents farmed on Beckwith Avenue, property that is still farmed by my uncle and my cousins today. I grew up in western Modesto in a rural agricultural area, and I believe in the objectives that are set forth to LAFCO, in addition to smart growth. The objectives for LAFCO are to preserve agricultural land resources and to discourage urban sprawl. I want to be a champion of those objectives, and you have heard from me many times over the past 3.5 years. You will continue to hear from me. Thank you.
Karen?
Hi, my name is Karen Conrado. I live in Stanislaus County near the area that that I'm discussing. I've also been in front of you many times. I'll keep it short tonight so I don't use up too much of your time, but I just want you to know I continue to be opposed to the proposed Riverwalk project that's going through the city of Riverbank for obvious reasons: prime ag land, floodplain, riparian habitat, Stanislaus River, all of those, water, aquifer, everything. Thank you very much. Please consider that as it comes up, as you hear it, pay attention and, analyze the destructiveness of it. Thanks.
Anyone else who did not fill out a card for public speaking that wishes to speak? Okay, we'll close the public comment and move on to correspondence. Specific correspondence?
There's no other correspondence other than what's noted on your agenda tonight.
All right, thank you for that. Declaration of conflicts of interest and/or disqualifications. Looking to my left and my right, listening, hearing, seeing none. Okay. Consent item. There's the minutes of January 22nd.
So moved.
We have a motion?
Second.
And a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody against say nay. It passes unanimous. All right, and now to public hearing. Item 6A, St. Anthony's change of organization to the city of Houston.
Good evening, Javier Camarena with LAFCO. The item being discussed this evening is LAFCO application number 2024-01, St. Anthony's change of organization to the city of Houston. The proposed project is a request to annex approximately 6.6 acres and associated right-of-way to the city of Houston. You can see here its location adjacent to the city. The site is located at 2020 Euclid Avenue at the southeast corner of the Euclid Avenue and Fox Road intersection. The site is located directly east of the city limits and is the existing site of St. Anthony's Church. Just to provide you a little background on the project, the site is already connected to city water services, and that was part of an out-of-boundary service request done many years ago. The property is currently in the process of completing site improvements and requested to connect to sewer services. As the property would be receiving all city services, and is currently adjacent to the city limits, annexation is the appropriate next step for the site. In October of 2024, the Houston City Council approved a resolution of application for annexation to LAFCO. Government code requires several factors be considered by LAFCO when evaluating a change of organization. The factors include an analysis of services and facilities, effects on agriculture, and consistency with government code. A discussion of these factors can be found on pages 3 through 6 of the staff report. And part of those factors that are considered requires an analysis of community services for the territory. And according to the plan for services, the city of Houston will be providing water, sewer, and road services. The site will remain within this Houston Fire Protection District, Houston Unified School District, and Turlock Mosquito Abatement District. Law enforcement services are provided through a city contract with the Stanislaus County Sheriff's Department. The city has indicated that it is able to provide all the necessary services to the site. The staff's recommendation can be found on page 6 of the staff report, which includes approval of Resolution 2025-02. Approval of the resolution would approve the proposed annexation, find the proposal consistent with state law and LAFCO policies and procedures, certify that the commission has considered the environmental documentation, and waive the protest proceedings. Staff is available for questions.
Questions? No? All right, we'll open it to the public. Does the applicant wish to speak first? Don't have to.
Yeah, good evening, Chair Bublak, members of the board. Mark Niskanen, contract planner, here tonight representing the city of Houston. First, I'd like to thank staff for assisting us through this process and here to express our support for their recommendation, and certainly am available for any questions.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, it's still open to the public. Anyone wishing to speak on this item? Okay, closing the public comment and bringing it back. What is the comments and/or direction?
I would just say this is logical and orderly, as we always like to say. It's adjoining, and it's been in the works for a long time. I know there's some improvements that need to be made, and so I would make the motion that we approve the proposal without modification and the 3 staff recommendations.
Okay, we have a motion,
Second.
and we have 2 seconds. All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody against, say nay. It passes unanimous. Thank you. Mark? All right, other business?
Yes. So we have an item here that is a notice of expiring terms for the public member seats on LAFCO, and a recommendation that the commission appoint a subcommittee for the initial screening of those applications. Included in that item is a draft schedule of how the recruitment would take place for public members. Both of our public member seats expire in May of this year. And so staff has proposed a schedule to start the recruitment process. Part of that recruitment process is required by law anyway, including how we notice the vacancies, which we're already prepared to do, and including also providing interested parties notice of that vacancy. What we plan to do is post the application online tomorrow, send out those notices, and at this point, the commission could appoint a subcommittee, typically consisting of 1 county and 1 city member, if they choose to look over the initial receipt of applications. In the past, we've not had to necessarily use the subcommittee. If we receive very few applications, the commission generally just brings them all forward for interviews. In the instance that we do receive, 10 to 20 applications, that subcommittee could bring back a recommendation to help narrow down the field for us. We've also had in the past where if we've received too few applications, the subcommittee will recommend that we go out and try to obtain more applications. But the ultimate goal is to have those seats filled by May and be a full commission.
Did you say how you advertise? How are we advertising this?
So the requirements in Cortese and Oxfordburg require us to send it out to all of the city clerks for the county to provide notice to the newspaper, and we're also doing an ad in the paper. We have an interested parties list that receives all of our agenda materials. We're sending it out to that as well. We have a limited presence on social media, but what presence we have, we'll get it posted on there as well. And then just hoping that our interested folks spread the word.
And maybe in your, I know you send it out to the city, but if you could ask them to post it on social media as well as the county.
Definitely, and we'll have it on our website as well.
Plural or singular? Cities.
Cities, yeah.
Yeah.
Cities, you're right. So that would be good. And then as far as the committee, I think it would be appropriate for the chair and vice chair to sit on the committee if there was one, if it was necessary, if it's okay with the chair. I'm speaking on behalf of Supervisor Withrow, by the way. I did ask him.
Okay.
Looking back, that's historically how it's been too, is chair and vice chair.
If
And
necessary.
me and O'Brien one time, I remember. Supervisor. Yeah, that's fine. Do you need more direction than that, or do we have to vote?
I think a vote would, just for the appointment would be appropriate.
Okay.
And I would accept, I'll accept the other advice there as direction to staff for
All right.
providing
I'm
notice.
open it to the public.
I got one question for Sarah. Sarah, we talked earlier about the fact that it's a glitch in the system, really, is that by the time with 5 members, the way our terms work, I got 1 meeting, I think, which was my claim to fame. And Lane will, I don't even know if you'd get him.
I just didn't accept it.
Yeah, and so, I mean, is there anything that can be done to make that little tweak to where a public member down the road can be chair?
Yeah, and I think we had ended up with some weird timing on that, but looking at it, I think Jennifer had mapped out that the next potential chairperson opportunity for the public member would be the full. It would finally be lined up with timing.
It would be,
again. Yeah.
as is.
Right.
Oh, okay. No issue.
Okay, let me open it to the public. Anyone wishing to speak on this topic? Okay, we'll close the public. Bring it back for you. What do you got?
All right, so, I know it's been a while. So it looks here that both of the public members, their term expires in the same date. I mean, is there a way to stagger those in the future? So, I mean, maybe they're like 2 years out. So that way, if for some reason the member who's expiring and maxed out their 4 years and is leaving, and that way you'd still have an experienced person instead of possibly getting 2 people with no experience. Is there a way we can do something about it? It just seems, because there's so much to this position to learn and everything else. I mean, these gentlemen obviously have already done it and have a lot of experience, but we might get someone in the future that doesn't, 2 new members, and then we just have no experience, no continuity, no institutional knowledge.
To that, could we just add 1 additional year to one of the positions? So that would, then from that point, they go back to normal, but that way you would stagger from that point on?
I think historically what's been happening is with the public members is that one public member typically still has another 4 years that they could qualify to be either in the alternate or regular. So we've had it switching back and forth. Commissioner Berryhill served in one capacity as public member and then reapplied for another 4 years. So it's been going in that route. We're not guaranteed necessarily, even though Commissioner Lane qualifies for another 4 years in the alternate capacity that he would apply for that.
Right.
So we could end up with 2 new. But in the past, it's been that typically one has been on for 4 years as alternate and then moved up to regular or vice versa.
Sounds like it'll work itself out then. All right, what is the will?
I think we only have to make a motion, right, for the committee chair and vice chair.
If necessary.
If necessary.
That's a motion?
That's a motion.
You got a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against say no. Okay, it passes unanimous. Thank you for that. Commissioners' comments? You got none? Okay. Additional matters, I have nothing, and executive officers report. Sarah?
So we'd like to welcome back Mayor Gokin onto the commission. He previously served from 2009 to 2013. And speaking of past commissioners, Commissioner DiMartini, former Commissioner DiMartini, also visited our office this morning and shares his well wishes to everyone. He wishes he could have been at the meeting to say hi, but he's got
Was he
plans.
sitting here? Because there's a little step still there. I was like, that's a DiMartini's stool. I was, no, he always had it. I don't mean it disrespectful, but yeah.
He's very fond of his time on LAFCO, though, and always speaks highly of it. And we hope that he starts a LAFCO in Nevada. So see how that goes. For our March 26th meeting, we will be looking at an out-of-boundary application from the Keys Community Services District. On the horizon, we're also expecting to receive an application for annexation to a county service area in Denair. And we're looking forward to a couple of other applications, one from City of Oakdale potentially in the future. So when we have those scheduled, we'll let you know. That's all I have.
All right. So we don't have a scheduled, next meeting should not probably be on the 26th of March?
It will be on March 26th.
Okay. So I will adjourn till the meeting on March 26th. Good night.